Well, hello everyone and happy Wednesday. It is 48 digital host AJ Wuest welcoming you all back to Before the Four, where I preview today's top news stories and then some before our 4 p.m. newscast. Whether you're a Before the Four vet or you're tuning in for the very first time, I of course want to thank you for watching and spending just a little bit of your Wednesday afternoon with me. Now, with all of that said, let us now dive into today's top story, shall we? And starting things off in Decatur, earlier today we learned that a worker was killed after an incident at an appliance plant. According to Decatur police, authorities were called to GE Appliances in Decatur around 9:30 this morning. The call was regarding a worker, 58-year-old Rodney Terry, being entrapped with a piece of machinery. Spokesperson Julie Wood stated that the company is deeply saddened by the loss of one of their employees and that they are working with law enforcement to understand the cause of this tragic incident. And 48's Callie Neese is in Decatur today, learning as much as she can about this situation. Callie will have updates for you all coming up at 4. And now in Sheffield, 48's Aria Pons will be bringing you more on an overnight shooting that left one 16-year-old Florence High School student dead. According to police, officers responded to South Nashville Avenue around 1 a.m. Upon arrival, authorities say they found a 16-year-old girl lying on the grass and injured from a gunshot wound. She was then taken to Helen Keller Hospital, where she later died. Sheffield police say they do not believe the girl was the intended victim of the suspect. Investigators are still working to learn more about the suspect. They say they are interviewing people and just this case in general. So if you know anything about this situation, Sheffield police are asking you to contact them. And in Marshall County, where 48 Savannah Sapp is today, Savannah is reporting on the ATV accident yesterday in Arab that left one 15-year-old Brindley High School student dead and another teen injured. Now, the incident happened along Union Chapel Road. When the ATV left the road and crashed into a tree, both teens were thrown from the ATV and later taken to the hospital, where the 15-year-old sadly passed. Savannah will be learning as much as she can about this situation and the victim, so make sure you stick around for our evening newscast for any updates Savannah might have. Now, in case you missed it, yesterday Savannah was out in Rainsville, where a major crash at a busy intersection left one police officer injured. Savannah Sapp has this story.
This surveillance footage captured by a Rainsville business shows the moment a driver slams into Rainsville police officer Riley Lassiter. This happened at the intersection of Highway 35 and Highway 75 in the heart of the city. Chief Michael Edmondson says dispatch informed him of the accident and he rushed to the scene.
And once I saw the vehicle, I was like, oh wow, this is, my officer's hurt. Somebody's hurt severely.
But thankfully, no one involved in the crash was severely injured. Officer Lassiter was able to escape the crash with only minor injuries. He was treated at a nearby hospital that night and released a few hours later. The driver who slammed into him was also treated for minor injuries. Lassiter's patrol car is a lost cause, but one piece did remain: the phrase that every officer carries on patrol.
I already knew that he was blessed, but when I seen that, it was truly a blessing that he was okay.
Edmondson says Aaliyah is looking into what caused that driver to crash into his officer. In the meantime, he says it's important to use extreme caution in this intersection, as over 28,000 vehicles pass through each day.
Put the cell phone down and start paying attention to your surroundings and what's going on. And other, a lot of things, we not only have to watch out for ourselves, we have to watch out for the other drivers as well.
Thank you, Savannah. I'm just glad everybody is okay. Now let's talk about mail delivery for a bit. Many here in the Huntsville community are fed up with USPS for their mail not getting delivered on time. 48's Nick Ballinger reports on mail delivery delays.
The song goes signed, sealed, delivered, but that last part has been a problem. Several homeowners around the valley aren't getting their mail. I reached out to the Postal Service for answers, and a spokesperson told me The volume of mail fluctuates daily, therefore delivery times are not guaranteed. Unusual circumstances such as traffic, staffing fluctuations, severe weather, etc. can cause deliveries to be made later in the day, however. We're not just talking about delivery times. Some people haven't even gotten their mail at all. Like one Madison County man who hasn't gotten any magazines, subscription mail, or even newspapers in the past 2 weeks.
But I prefer to be able to just sit down and read a magazine, and I can't do that because I'm just not getting it.
He has lived in the same house for 20 years and hasn't had any problems before. He's heard about the problems straight from the source.
From everything that I have heard inside and outside of the post office, it seems like it's simply a manpower issue.
Congressman Robert Adderholt's office has heard the issues and dealt with it too.
This is a copy of the April 17th Blount County newspaper. April 17th, it was delivered to our office this month.
Congressman has received over 100 complaints in the past year from people who aren't getting their mail on time. That's why he's sponsoring a bill to require a 95% on-time delivery rate.
They need to understand who created them. It was Congress that created them. They kind of act like sometimes like they can just do their own thing, and they're not serving their customers well.
Some just hope this problem doesn't get any worse.
The elderly folks, that they rely on the mail for everything. And if first class were to shut down, that would be catastrophic.
Well, thank you, Nick. Now let's head over to the Shoals, where one Florence man is facing hundreds of child porn charges. 48's Aria Pons is on your side with the latest.
Florence Police Sergeant Ryan Kelly says that officers began investigating Joseph Luna back in October when they received a tip from the FBI. That tip then led them to Luna's apartment, where they found several devices full of child pornography. Kelly says all of the images were of children under the age of 17 and were very explicit. He says Luna was not producing the images, but was sharing them. Kelly says Luna was charged for each image of a minor they found, which is why he has 385 counts of possession of obscene matter.
Each image is a different count, so that would be the difference between 4 counts versus 300. So it's how many pictures that were located, or videos, or anything like that. So each image or file is considered a separate count.
Kelly added that it's important for parents to teach their children at a young age to ask for help if a stranger on the internet is asking them to share photos of themselves.
Somebody's doing something that's inappropriate to them, it's very important for them to reach out to an adult that they trust, and we'll get them the help that they need.
Luna has since been released on a $50,000 bond. Reporting in Florence, Aria Pons, 48 on your side.
Thank you, Aria. And staying in the Shoals, a Florence man behind bars for allegedly sodomizing 2 elderly victims during a burglary in June is now facing additional charges. Michael Kirkland Jr., who you see on screen right here, was arrested on June 22nd for allegedly pushing his way into a home on Howell Street, attacking and beating 2 elderly women. Investigators also say he sodomized one of the victims, tied her up, and left her for dead. Kirkland was initially charged with 1 count of first-degree burglary, first-degree robbery, first-degree sodomy, and first-degree assault. However, a grand jury returned a 12-count indictment this month. Kirkland is now charged with 2 counts of attempted murder, 2 counts of first-degree burglary, 2 counts of first-degree robbery, 2 counts of third-degree theft of property, 3 counts of fraudulent use of a debit or credit card, and 1 count of first-degree sodomy. He is currently held at the Lauderdale County Detention Center without bond. Now in national news, let's pull that up. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is in Washington, D.C. today, where he gave a high-stakes address to a joint meeting of Congress with pressure mounting to halt the 9-month war in Gaza and bring hostages home. Andrea Mitchell has the latest from Washington.
Today, Israel's Prime Minister Netanyahu is set to address a joint meeting of Congress, with pressure mounting to deliver a ceasefire and bring the surviving hostages home after 9 months of brutal war in Gaza. Netanyahu is likely to face a barrage of protests today, with heightened security on Capitol Hill. Hundreds of demonstrators gathered at the Capitol Tuesday, protesting U.S. weapons used in Gaza. the Capitol Police making arrests. With Democrats deeply divided over the war, more than a dozen lawmakers are expected to boycott today's speech, blaming the Prime Minister for prolonging the conflict.
Why aren't you going?
I would like to see Bibi Netanyahu be a more constructive, forward-leaning, solution-seeking partner in all of this.
Others say they feel compelled to attend.
I feel when world leaders come to the People's Chamber, it's important that we hear their perspective.
Netanyahu is expected to meet with President Biden at the White House tomorrow, followed by an unprecedented meeting with the two leaders and the families of American hostages. In a meeting with those families Monday, Netanyahu pointed to new progress, telling them the conditions are ripening to bring their loved ones home. The parents of American hostage Hersh Goldberg Poland told Netanyahu they want him to announce a deal today.
We're not going to stop pushing. We need to get this done.
Meanwhile, Israel's military pummeling southern Gaza Monday in a safe zone, it says targeting militants, but killing at least 70, injuring 200, according to the Hamas-run health ministry.
Thank you, Andrea. And staying in national news, Vice President Kamala Harris is making her mark with Gen Z voters. Amy Cho reports.
With Vice President Kamala Harris now the clear frontrunner for the Democratic presidential nomination, many young Democrats tell News 4 it's a welcome relief.
More excited to vote now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm more excited to vote for Kamala. Like, I was gonna vote for Biden, but it wasn't like exciting, I guess.
Yeah, I think she'd be a good president. Yeah, I think we need something new. We need a woman to rule this nation.
Some Gen Z Republicans say they're also glad Vice President Harris is running because they view her as a weak opponent.
But I really do think that Kamala Harris was probably one of the worst picks that the party could have made.
Luke Brown is treasurer of the American University College Republicans Club. He says he's looking forward to voting for former President Trump.
His administration and what he did in his first 4 years provide a stark contrast compared to the America that we see under Joe Biden, which is a failing nation.
Young voters could play a pivotal role in the election. According to Tufts University, nearly 41 million members of Gen Z will be eligible to vote this November. NBC News exit polls in 2020 found Gen Z made up 9% of all voters, and 65% voted for Biden. This election cycle, though, some young voters say they feel left out of the conversation.
I feel like a lot of times when they're up there debating, they're not talking about things that I want to know about.
We asked Gen Z voters in both parties what issues they care about. Republicans say immigration and inflation.
Our country has been completely destroyed, has been damaged to the point of no return, and that's why we need common sense back into this nation.
We really just want a secure border, and we want prices to come down. And we also want crime. You know, we see a lot of, especially in cities like Washington, D.C., we see the crime epidemic.
Meantime, many young Democrats say climate change is top of mind, along with other issues.
LGBTQ rights, abortion, definitely the Supreme Court.
I care about education. I care about gun safety laws. I think that's a really big one since we've grown up with school shootings.
Continued conversation around key issues with less than a month to go until the Democratic National Convention.
Thank you, Amy. Now let's talk about some local sports. 48's Carl Prather has everything you need to know this week from yesterday's high school football media days in the Shoals. Let's take a listen.
High school football media days underway across the valley. Big day for area high schools as we prepare for the start of the high school football season. Fall camp just around the corner for Valley teams as they held Shoals Media Day festivities of day one here in the valley. More on today's event over in the Shoals in just a moment, but we have to start with a trip back to the Lone Star State. Hard to believe we were literally just there a week ago for SEC Media Days, but we had United Athletic Conference Media Days because the North Alabama Lions also in that league and held their Media Day in the Lone Star State today. Brent Dearman and players in Texas for today's media festivities. The Lions preseason picked to finish 7th in their second year in the league. Head coach Brent Dearman excited about where the program is currently as they head to fall camp and prepare for UAC League play year number 2.
Kind of let you know the kickoff of the season's right around the corner when you come to media days. They do a great job down here in Dallas of putting this event together. Our 2 representatives here with Jackson and TK have done an extremely good job of handling themselves, talking to the media. Great representation of UNA and the state of Alabama for sure. But this just tells us it's time to go. When we come down to this event, in 2 days we got kids moving in and we'll start practicing in 3 days. So it just means go time for us.
So the Lions also welcome a familiar face back to the Valley. Former Muscle Shoals standout Jackson Braden back in the Valley, suiting up for the Lions this season. Braden played at Alabama before transferring to Birmingham and UAB. And now the redshirt junior back ready to make an impact for the Lions.
I'm super excited. I couldn't be more fired up. You know, I'm loving living at home. I don't have any rent right now. I'm living with my mom, so I'm trying to save my stipend check and save up some money, get ready for my life after college. So it's been nice so far. I'm loving it.
Okay, back to an awesome day for our high school football players. Day 1 of Shoals Media Day, a complete 20 teams visited with the media this afternoon. Another batch set for tomorrow. As anyone would imagine, teams eager and ready to make a playoff run as the season gets underway 1 month from tonight. Make sure you download our 48 Sports Zone app. Folks, we will have all the latest news around the Valley at your fingertips. Download now on the iOS App Store or the Google Play Store. Our high school football previews begin, folks, in August as we march toward our first 48 Blitz show, August 23rd. We are here. High school football just around the corner, 30 days away. Carl Prather, 48 Sports, on your side.
Well, thank you, Carl. Now we all know it. It's summer, it's hot, the kids are out of school, and sometimes it's just easier to hit the drive-thru. But what used to be easy on your wallet has now become a treat for many families as the price of eating out fast has soared. NBC senior business correspondent Christine Romans is here with what fast food restaurants are doing to make eating out more appetizing for your budget again.
Meal deal wars have been waging a battle for your bite all summer long.
Can we talk about how ridiculous fast food prices are anymore?
And this morning, a new round is heating up. McDonald's is now extending its popular $5 meal.
This is actually the best McDonald's meal right now.
What started as a temporary promotion will now be served up at most locations all the way through August, Today has learned. The meal, which can include a cheeseburger plus fries, McNuggets, and a drink. McDonald's president speaking to Savannah and Hoda last month.
Did consumers essentially force your hand by being fed up?
Customers are telling us that they're really stretched. And so this is a great opportunity for McDonald's to bring them value.
Fast foodies revolting when what was once cheap and cheerful began to overwhelm their wallets.
Fast food is now so overpriced that it is often cheaper to go to a sit-down restaurant than it is to drive through fast food.
In fact, menu prices at 12 fast food chains have increased by an average of 60% since 2014. McDonald's prices doubling in a 10-year period, Popeyes up 86%, Taco Bell up 81%, and prices at Subway and Starbucks climbing 39%. This has left nearly 80% of consumers considering these drive-through meals a luxury.
There's a lot of pressure on restaurants to get consumers back. And, they're going to look for any way they can to do this.
That means loyalty apps, new products, and plenty of deals. Domino's boosting business by revamping its loyalty program, with pizza redemption made easier, faster, and at a lower spending point. Subway giving $2 off for every 400 loyalty points. And 5, seemingly the magic number for fast food meals.
This deal is loaded, even when your wallet isn't.
2 full meals, $5.99 each.
Kind of feels like everyone's trying to copy the $5 biggie bag.
Fry fiends, pizza patrons, and burger buyers are noticing.
And let me tell y'all why this is a good deal.
With this much food that's only $5, it's definitely worth it.
Drive-through chains, not the only ones to serve up savings. Casual dining, touting bang for the buck. Red Robin is winning with more than 30 bottomless items. Chipotle offering BOGO, buy one, get one free meals. And Applebee's touting fixed price meals for under $12. Fast and casual dining this summer, working hard with hot new deals to keep your wallet cool.
Well, thank you. Now another story I saw today. Catholic churches across the United States are hurting for priests. On top of that, there's a nationwide visa backlog, and that's sending foreign-born priests back to their home country. Regan DeTrolio has the struggle to replace leaders. And let's take a listen.
It's been a nightmare, a big nightmare.
Catholic churches like this one here in Ava are struggling to keep its pews full after the congregation lost its priest due to this nationwide immigration problem.
St. Leo the Great Catholic Church has seen its membership drop. Its only priest was deported.
He had to go back because his time was up and he couldn't get the extension.
That priest was in charge of several churches here in the Ozarks.
5 parishes were without a priest.
St. Leo the Great Parish Secretary Annette Stilling says her congregation was thrown into chaos.
We didn't have parish council meetings because you can't have a parish council without a priest, and we could finish up all of the projects that we had in the works, but we couldn't start any new ones.
90% of our dioceses in the United States are dealing with this because we have priests from either Africa or India or South America. So we're all going through this.
Bishop Edward Rice with the Springfield Cape Girardeau Roman Catholic Diocese says he's been working hard to try and fix this problem.
I've been told by political offices, like Senator Hawley's office, who was very kind to reach out to me when we requested some help. They said they're still working on applications from 2022.
The diocese is in the process of bringing on more priests, but it's no easy job.
The reality is it just takes a while to form a man to be a priest.
And St. Leo the Great Church has since gotten a new priest, but the congregation has had to consolidate its masses.
He's had to make some changes to the schedules. So there's no masses in Kabul anymore. Gainesville's only has Saturday night mass. We've gone from 11 to 11:45.
The diocese is bringing on around 5 more priests in the coming months, but it faces losing 3 others come January.
We're stretched thin.
Well, thank you. Now let's talk about the stories you're just not going to want to miss in tonight's evening newscast. President Biden to address the nation tonight on his decision to drop out of the presidential race. Get the latest from that. A new hospital expansion in Madison, a new skate park in Huntsville, and a whale slamming into a boat. These are just a few of the stories you're just not going to want to miss in our evening newscast. And of course, you already know what I'm about to say. You're also not going to want to miss the first alert forecast from Chief Meteorologist Brad Travis, who is on your side with how the weather might look heading into the weekend. Now, of course, you all know what time it is. It is time for Facebook fun. Let's pull up today's question. It is, what thing do you wish you had invented? I don't know. There's a lot of things out there I wish I had invented, but let's see what you all had to say. Elnita said iPhones. Yes, that is definitely, that's up there on my list as well. Thank you for commenting, Elnita. Debbie said Velcro. Absolutely, that's a good one. Thank you for commenting, Debbie. Ruby said toilet paper. Okay, very interesting choice there. Thank you for commenting, Ruby. Scott said sliced bread. Absolutely. And finally, Sonia said a self-cleaning house. Sonia, me too. Anything for me to not have to clean, I will absolutely. You know what, Sonia? I don't know if they have these. I think me and you need to partner up right now, and we need to invent this so-called self-cleaning house, because I am 100% down. But anyway, thank you for commenting, Sonia. That is just about all the time I have in today's Before the Four. I want to thank you for sticking around with me and spending a little of your Wednesday afternoon with me. If you haven't done so already, make sure you download the 48 Digital app. Same goes for the 48 First Alert Weather app. Turn on those push notifications and get the breaking news delivered directly to you. You'll never miss a breaking story. But with that said, that is all the time I have. But of course, thank you for watching, and you know how we end this. Thank you for watching. You all have a great night.